Happy Thursday to you. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harapsky. New this afternoon, the Minneapolis City Council approved an ordinance setting a minimum price for all e-cigarettes at $25. The bill's author says it's an effort to prevent youth addiction. Today's vote was unanimous. The ordinance also creates new zoning restrictions so new tobacco shops can't open within 300 feet of schools, among other things. Happening right now, the search and rescue effort after that devastating flooding in Texas is turning into a recovery mission. More than 150 people are still missing, and the death toll is now sitting at 120, and it's expected to rise. Today, officials said they are thankful for all the help searching for those missing, but the search areas are getting very dangerous.
We're so grateful for the amount of people who want to come to this community to help. And we've had people from all over the state and all over the country volunteer their services. But it's important that we have certified professional search teams out there right now.
President Trump will visit the area tomorrow as questions swirl about the steps that were taken before that wall of water came rushing down. We've learned there was a delay in sending out a mass notification about the floods. Kare County officials taking nearly 6 hours to send out that alert after a firefighter had requested it. The Kare County Sheriff says they're investigating exactly what happened. The people who did survive the floods are scrambling to find help. Jay Gray is in Kare County with one of the organizations that's stepping up.
Well, day 7 of the rescue, the recovery, the search here in the Texas Hill Country. The death toll again climbing. At least 120 have died as a result of the catastrophic flooding here. More than 150 still missing. And volunteers continuing to pour into this area to try and help those in need. Mercy Chefs, one of those groups that's doing just that, cooking meals for those who have been displaced, for all of the first responders who have gathered here. And it's people directly involved with this area that are volunteering to help out, including the father of some campers at Camp Mystic who were in the camp just a week before the flooding.
It's hard on them. It's very hard on them. I mean, they could have been there. It was hard on me when I thought about, oh gosh, that could have been my kids. So I'm just thankful that they're where they are and they were with us. And I'm thankful for everybody that got to get their kids home, and just praying for the people that their kids aren't coming home.
Yeah, the help really needed here. They serve between 4,000 and 5,000 meals a day here, already more than 14,000 since the flooding began. And look, they say they're going to be here for as long as necessary. This is an area, as we go through the search and recovery, that's going to need some help for a long time. That's the latest from here in Ingram, Texas. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Nearly a month has passed since the political assassinations of Melissa and Mark Hortman on June 14th. Now, Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher is questioning why it took so long to notify other lawmakers about it the morning the killer was on his rampage. State officials have called the sheriff's letter an inaccurate representation of the notification process. Here's Danny Spiewak to sort it out.
The events of June 14th unfolded early in the morning. After the first shooting at Senator John Hoffman's home around 2 a.m., investigators say Vance Belter visited 2 other lawmakers' houses before murdering Representative Melissa Hortman and husband Mark around 3:30 a.m.
So there's an hour-and-a-half time frame in there, and what happened in there is critical. We were fast enough to get a squad car to Ann Rest's house at 2:36. Why did it take us an extra hour to get to Melissa's house? Those are the types of tough questions that people want to know.
In a letter to the House Sergeant at Arms and Capitol Security, Fletcher said the timeline of June 14th reveals a striking breakdown in the communication to potential victims that were on the suspect's hit list, and asked for a legislative audit to determine who or which agency is responsible to notify legislators quickly that they are potential victims.
The notification process was dreadfully delayed and slow.
The State Department of Public Safety, which oversees State Patrol and Capitol Security, disputed that characterization. In a statement, DPS said Sheriff Fletcher's letter does not accurately represent the manner in which law enforcement responded and that notifications were sent to the proper parties early that morning. DPS provided messages known as teletypes sent by Brooklyn Park Police at 4:25 a.m. and State Patrol at 4:40 a.m., roughly an hour after the shooting at the Hortman's house.
DPS said that your letter was not an accurate representation of the events. What do you make of that?
They believe that their teletype at 4:40 in the morning constituted good notice.
In the days after the shooting, many lawmakers praised the response of law enforcement agencies, saying they were notified quickly and offered police protection. That includes House Speaker Lisa Demuth.
I'm grateful for the support that law enforcement has given elected officials throughout the state.
And Representative Nolan West.
They've been very communicative and present, as you can imagine, in these circumstances.
Would you agree there was a lot of really good work done in those early hours?
100%. We had 120 of our deputies from this building out involved in the manhunt. There was a ton of great work that went on, but great work should never prevent us from figuring out how we can be better.
Danny Spiewak, Kare 11 News.
If you're paying off student loans right now, listen up. One of the largest student loan servicers is telling borrowers it's temporarily removing the ability to track loan forgiveness payment counts for income-driven plans. That's because the Department of Education just stalled payment counts. The temporary pause comes as litigation continues over former President Joe Biden's student loan repayment plan. It promised lower monthly payments and a faster path to loan forgiveness. The Trump administration has sought to roll back the previous administration's student loan forgiveness policies. Today we're hearing from one of the 8 rescued kayakers from the Sauk River on July 5th. Remember this story? Rachel and Todd Curlis joined 6 of their family members on Saturday to kayak on the river in Rockville. But a combination of high water levels, low-hanging trees, and underwater branches caused 5 of them to tip over, leaving them stranded for about 30 to 45 minutes before first responders brought them to safety.
Ken got pushed with the current into the tree, but his leg, there's branches that you can't see that are below the water. His leg got caught in one. I just remembered his face is underwater and he's looking up and he's trying to grab a branch to pull himself out of so he can breathe.
Wow, thankfully no one was hurt there. The Stearns County Sheriff's Office is urging people to use extreme caution or avoid the river until those water levels recede. Right now, a Minneapolis man is threatening legal action after an online chatbot posted disturbing details involving him. In a now deleted post on X, Grok, which is the app's artificial intelligence chatbot, gave users a detailed plan on how to break into Will Stansel's home and sexually assault him. Stansel is a prominent liberal commentator on X. Joe McCoy spoke with him.
I have saved some of the screenshots because they were being deleted.
When Will Stansel woke up on Tuesday,
Just threats.
He never expected the online firestorm that came his way on X.
One thing they like to do is they like to Photoshop me into pictures of Hitler.
Stansel, an outspoken liberal on X, has more than 100,000 followers on the platform and says he's constantly receiving hate messages from far-right users.
It's really hard to ignore thousands of people threatening you.
But what happened in this situation was different. The human users attacking him were being aided by X's own AI chat robot called Grok.
In the past, when they've done this, the chatbot has said, no, I won't do it. Yesterday, because of the changes that Elon Musk made, it suddenly started complying and indulging those requests.
For weeks, X's owner, Elon Musk, had said he was going to rebuild Grok because he was unsatisfied with some of its answers. On Tuesday, the chatbot began sharing anti-Semitic tropes and praised Adolf Hitler as, quote, history's prime example of spotting patterns in anti-white hate and acting decisively on them. Grok was also now answering hundreds of questions about Stansel with seemingly very few guardrails.
And it really culminated, I think, in one where someone asked how to break into my apartment and rape me, and Grok produced an extensive plan for doing that. In fact, going as far as to say, based on my social media history, when I was likely to be asleep, and giving them advice on how to dispose of my body.
This, in fact, is very disturbing.
Manjeet Rege, an AI expert at the University of St. Thomas, says this is a result of Grok being designed for engagement without technical and philosophical discipline.
If you train AI to be edgy without being ethical, it learns to basically walk the cliff edge, and sometimes it just ends up jumping, and this is just one example of that.
Stansel says he did not feel an immediate concern for his safety because of this situation. However, he is considering legal action potentially against Elon Musk and X.
Elon Musk made a policy decision about his product that led it to predictably produce this kind of awful rhetoric and these threats. To me, that's a problem.
Joe McCoy reporting there. Wow. Hey, mark your calendars. Music legend Paul McCartney coming to U.S. Bank Stadium this fall. Stadium and entertainment leadership made that announcement this morning, calling this show historic. It's the first time he's played in Minneapolis in almost a decade. Tickets go on sale next week. Prices for those tickets have not yet been revealed. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.